Well, then. Call the meeting, oh, I guess if there's this first. I will call the meeting to order. We'll take a quick attendance thing. Bob. Present. Is here. Kim. Present. Is here. Shauna. Present. Is here. Michaela. Is here. And Teresa, are you out there somewhere?
Yeah, I'm on Zoom. I'm at home.
Oh, it's good to hear your voice.
Half of my face is droopy and numb, so.
Oh, well, we won't go there, but okay, we are all here, so we're good. All right. So, do we have any, I will ask for, first of all, the agenda. Are there any corrections, additions that anyone would like to make to the agenda for today? No, good. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, meeting minutes. Unless there's any changes, corrections or additions, could I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. We are good with that. Kelly, do we have any citizens on board that might be able to ask for citizen comments and see if you have any on that would like to come?
We have one online. If you would like to comment, please let me know in the chat. Not seeing.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so then we will move on to reports. And our first report will be from our city administrator, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know that I have a formal report other than to just update everybody on the status of the budget development. And I think that you're going to be talking about this during the meeting, so this may be more appropriate than I otherwise thought it may be. But we're at the place in the calendar where the budget estimates that the departments have put together have been presented to the mayor, and so we're in that period where staff is going to be looking at these internally, discussing them with the mayor, and getting ready for that presentation that she's going to make of the preliminary budget to the council on October the 17th. And a couple of things that are going to happen between now and then. This coming council meeting on September the 19th, there will be the first budget public hearing where citizen input will be provided. And then on October 3rd, there will be a hearing on the 2024 sources of revenue. And I'll just use this opportunity to remind the board and anyone who may be listening and participating that there is a forum out there that we've set up that we're inviting people to come in and kind of give us insights from a personal level as to what their own priorities may be with respect to the budget, things that they may like to see more of, less of, done better, done less well, those kinds of things. And so that can be reached through our website, and we'd love to hear your input because we like as much of it as we can get. And that's really the extent of the information I just shared.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions for Mark in regards to that process? Okay, we will move on. Okay, Friends of the Library, Bob.
Yes. In light of one of the things that was discussed at the Friends, in light of what Mark just said, was a member of the Friends who's also on the Community Engagement Commission, Robin Beckendall, passed out this little flyer that they produced, which has a barcode or QR code and how to get the survey. And I had already done the survey, but she passed it out to all the folks at the Friends meeting. And what's interesting is, I noticed that when you go into that site, there's kind of a continuing list of all of the things that people have said. So it's almost like a text message thread. All the way down to the beginning, you can see, from the first people that responded and the stuff going on through. So that was, pushed to the Friends at that time. The other things that were discussed, the Friends received a donation $750 from the Centennial, Liberty Lake Centennial Rotary Club. That donation is to purchase a new rug for story time at the library. The old rug was one that either had, it had a civic organization's logo on it. I don't remember if it was Kiwanis or it was Rotary. But that rug was starting to, show a lot of use and wear, and it couldn't be cleaned. And it was, always in the meeting room there. So the $750 will go to purchase a new rug, for the story time. Michaela reported, I won't go over everything Michaela reported on, but a lot of it was similar to what she's gonna report to us on with the meetings, and the number of people participating in all of the summer reading programs. I think it was amazing, just the total number of folks, the 60 adults, 85 teens, and 441 kids that participated in that summer reading program. She also told us about the upcoming Halloween party, which happens to be on my birthday in October, and different things that they need for that party should the members of the Friends have them, sort of 2-liter soda bottles, pumpkin carving sets. She also talked about, the poetry slam with schools that they were going to be part of at the library. And then we're still working, the Friends are still working on, I don't want to call them business cards, for members of the Friends to pass out to people to help get donations for books and also help get more members to the Friends. And Tim Olson had committed his office to helping with that. Also, the Friends reported on the fact that after the successful summer soiree, they had purchased 2 more of the canopy tents and the weights because we need, regardless of what the attendance is, you need more outdoor coverage, space, and we had borrowed tents a lot. So in this case, now we bought another 2 tents. And then the fall book sale is coming up. We need a lot of books. We need especially children's books and young adult books. We also sold out of DVDs the last time. So if you're trying to get rid of DVDs because you're now committed to streaming, bring us your DVDs. And we will also have a lot of puzzles. Those were very popular last time. That book sale is coming up in November. It is November 17th and 18th. So it's the week before Thanksgiving. There was some discussion, about, we have a number of books that were donated that are more valuable than just putting them out for 25 cents or 50 cents per dollar. There was some discussion over how we're going to approach that, and that's continuing discussion. The summer soiree, the committee's got another follow-up meeting coming up. We had one follow-up meeting, we have another one, and then the Friends also the Friends also thanked the head of the summer soiree committee with a gift, Marilyn Steen, that she was surprised by. And then I mentioned it that Robin talked about all of the things related to what community engagement was doing and making sure that people, people do, their part for this.
Great, thanks, Bob. Anybody have any questions for Bob? Okay, moving on. We are at City Council. Sean.
I want to discuss a couple of city council meetings. I don't know.
Okay. All righty.
If anybody else, I don't know if Teresa has been in attendance in any of them or anyone else has attended.
I've gone back and watched them after the fact, and there wasn't anything, specific that jumped out, about the library.
Yeah.
And that would be, kind of what we're looking for. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of activity around, the strategic plan. There are community engagement folks at the last one, actually Robin, I think, did the presentation at the last council meeting. Went through, you know, what the community engagement group had been working on. And, I noticed there were, you know, the rest of it was pretty much things like taking care of the, driving range nets. And then there was, you know, the usual, you know, presentation by the fire department and the relays to the workers. So nothing done back.
That is great. Thanks, Bob. All right, Michaela, you are on.
All right. So I have some updated summer reading numbers. They're not a ton more than what Bob said, but we did have a couple more days after that friends meeting for people to turn things in. So we had a total of 470 kids finish their logs this year, which is incredible. I think it was like a 23% gain in the 6 to 12-year-old range, which was excellent over last year. And I would like to give a big thanks to Ms. Erin, our children's associate. She went to tons and tons of schools ahead of summer break this year and talked to all of the kids and got them really excited about summer reading, and it showed. We had 85 teams participate this year. They turned in a total of 283 tickets. And each ticket gets them either a prize or a drawing entry for the grand prize. And 62 adults turned in 156 tickets between them all. And they were encouraged this year, not only to read on their own, but to read with their families was considered a punch on their card. Doing family dinner or family game night or calling a friend. This year's summer theme was all together now, so we were really trying to get them to do things with their family and friends, like reading especially, but also some other activities. So 62 finished that. Our in-house book count for August was 779 books, and that is books that people take off the shelf while they're in the library and don't end up checking out, and we end up reshelving them. That number is crazy high for us. So it shows that there are a lot of people in the library using things while they were there. We had over 6,200 people come through the door in just August, which is great. And in 3 weeks of story time in August, we had 456 kids come, which is awesome. So really good summer reading this year. We're happy with that.
Well, Michaela, how does the number, do you have any way of knowing how the numbers compare to last year as far as people walking through the door?
Yeah, that is in our monthly report.
Probably in here.
Yeah, it's already in your monthly report, so it'll
Got it.
show
Okay.
this year and last year.
I'll wait.
Okay. I want to say people through the door last year was like 58 to 5,900.
Well, everything's increased.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. We moved some of the facilities around.
5598
Okay.
last year,
Oh, good.
5275 this year.
Sweet. That's a good number. We moved some of the facilities around, so computers have moved, towards the community spirit mural. There's some armchairs now next to the, where you walk in, so if you'd like to sit and read with your family, and people often do, they can do that now. Some more tables moved to the back for some work and study space. And we are waiting on delivery of a table that we can do some community activities. It's got a lazy Susan in the bottom, so we can put all our art supplies and puzzles and games out there and just have that out for people to come use at the library. So we're working on that. Bob mentioned we were approached by the Spokane County Library District to participate in their annual poetry slam. So we are working with them on that. There are local competitions at each of the high schools, and then regional, and then a grander Spokane area competition. So it's very cool. They get very involved. A lot of our TAG volunteers did the poetry slam last year. So we're excited about doing it again this year, working with them on that. The library will be at the Hub Family Fun Festival on September 29th from 4 to 7. We're also on September 29th doing our annual 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. And that is for families with young children to come in, learn about some early literacy activities, get books for their kids. The kids, when they bring in their each 100 books that they read up until they go to kindergarten, they get prizes when they come to the library. So trying to really get them over, I think the stat is like 1/3 of kindergartners are not ready for school. And so this is us trying to help prepare them for school when they get there. So September 29th at 10:30, people can register on September 15th. So there's that. Also, the Halloween party Bob mentioned, October 26th. It's always a really good time. Last year we had over 300 people walk in the door in like 2 hours. So please come. It'll be excellent.
I think this year's theme is Minion.
There's minion themes this year. All right. Any questions for me?
I have a question on the robotics report you gave, so, on the second page, it's got like 2023 and 2022 checkouts and visitor count. Is that for the whole year? Because it's like a number of 19,000 for this year, 16,000.
It's for the whole summer. So
For the whole summer?
Yeah,
Okay,
June, July,
that makes
August.
sense, because it's under the summer reading program. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That makes. When. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions for Michaela? Okay. So, we are now at the interlibrary loans. So there's an update on that from our discussion last month.
yes. So we are talking about the reciprocal agreement with Spokane County Library District that was signed in 2012 between us and them. Item 2D on there says we cannot do interlibrary loans, ebooks, or digital database access. And that's what we're discussing, maybe changing with them. I talked to Sean, the city attorney. He said, modifications require agreement from Spokane County Library District, so anything we'd like to change, we would approach them. After that, if they agree to that, then we need to put a written addendum onto the old agreement. If they decline, that current agreement remains, unless we want to terminate it, which I don't think we do. Or do some other sort of change with it. So really, it's a matter of the board, which is a party, needs to approach the board of Spokane County if we want to make those changes, and just tell them what we would like to change and see if we can come to a mutual agreement.
Well, that's what my, if I have a question, that would be my question. Is that a communication that should occur between, their board and our board?
I believe so. You're listed as the signing parties,
Okay,
so that would make sense to me.
so we should work in concert with you or Jandy in making contact with their board and their library director and seeing how that would work out.
Yep.
Okay. So in order to kind of get a little bit more, I don't want to say this, to move a little bit more forward on this,
Mhm.
Are you or Jandy going to reach out to them to try to set up a meeting, or should that be in our ballpark? Help me out with that one, I'm not quite sure.
I'm not either.
Okay.
I don't think it matters who reaches out to set up, if it's between boards. We just would need the contact information. Yeah,
It may not require a meeting, it might just be,
yeah, no, if we
If
explain
if
this,
Brad sends an
Yeah.
email to their chairman and says, we'd like to amend this.
That's what I was trying to
Yeah, I mean,
get.
that's kind of where I would think it would go, is we just need to know who the chairman of their board is, and then we just need to put specifically an email together for him to send.
so, and that might be easily done, you know.
Got it, so, Michaela, Jandy will be back on the job September, what, 20th? 25th, so not too far. So I will contact Jandy and I'll set up a meeting with her to see how we want to move forward with that. And I'll work with her on sending an email to their board. Got it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, on their website, it's just like a web seminar forum for ask a trustee, ask the board of trustees something, so,
I'm sure we can get you an actual.
Yeah, I'm sure Jandy already knows who that contact person would be, so I'll talk with her and we'll get that figured out and get an email sent out. Hopefully we'll have some answers for our next meeting. Great, okay, super. All right, so now, this was something I asked, and Michaela is so organized, she got this done in no time at all. I asked her for a organizational chart. And, could you just go through that a little bit with us? Cause it's great. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so when you guys had asked for the org chart, you had kind of asked like what the specific duties of each position were. So I just went through and pulled out the big things that are different between each position. So we start at the top with our director, Jandy. She works with the board, the staff to set policies, priorities, objectives, programs, and the budget. She also works with the board, city, community groups, and community partners, and supervises staff. She is the person to whom all of their staff reports. So then we have librarian, that's me, assisting patrons with reference, research, readers advisory, technology, doing collection development, programs, maintaining partnerships, constant actual down. We have an associate, Erin. She's our children's associate, so she directs programs and works on partnerships as well, assists patrons with readers advisory and reference, and suggests materials for purchase to either Jandy or I.
So I have a question about the associate.
Yeah.
Okay, so, not that I have anything that I have a problem with, but I'm just curious.
Mhm.
Cause I think our associate is excellent.
Yeah.
But, so. Now. The, experience, the bachelor's degree, is that in just any area?
Right,
Okay,
yes. And hers happens to be in education.
right, which is perfect for their job. Or, an associate's degree in library tech.
Right.
Okay. I was just curious if there was any, attachment to the bachelor's degree, but.
Yeah. Does not have to be that very
Yeah,
specific.
okay. Thank you.
So next over down, we have technicians. We have several of these, including Georgette, who's kind of a lead technician, Rhonda, Rebecca, Jesse, and Chelsea, who's a substitute. These people assist patrons with circulation. They might assist patrons with reference, readers advisory, and technology. They perform cataloging, processing, mending, and interlibrary loan service, and they kind of divide that up amongst themselves. Yeah. And they might serve as volunteer coordinator or homebound services coordinator, which currently Rhonda does both. Lastly, we have clerks. So this is Adrian, Jill, and then two of our substitutes. These people shell, they assist with circulation, and they may occasionally assist with processing and mending. So our whole work chart. Any questions?
Oh, that's nice, thank you.
Yeah.
It's really nice, at least for me, to walk in there and have a little bit better idea of the role that each person is assuming when they're in there. I could guess really easily, but it's just kind of nice to have it here in front of us. In front of me anyway.
And I
So
think,
I appreciate that.
I think this would be a great addition to the report to the council,
Okay.
so they can see the different jobs and the different services that we provide.
Sounds good.
And it's a substitute, I mean, like, they don't have regular hours, they're just right on call if somebody's out.
Yeah, so Chelsea does story time. She's our sub in case anybody's not around for a program. And then Lynn and Carol sub for the front desk.
So I see there's a lot of technicians here, a lot of clerks that have a lot of things to do. I'm just curious. Is there enough room for them to do their work in that, area that has been designated to them? I mean, they probably don't, and to me, I look at that, I go, there's no way, I mean, with all the books and stuff that we collect and are returned, it just doesn't seem, okay.
Yeah.
Are they kind of having to,
We have two of
bump
them.
into each other, move out? Yeah, got it.
We kind of stagger who works back there, so not everybody's stepping on each other's toes. It is tight.
Depends on the area, just the left.
yeah, when you come in, right past the doors, where you drop off your books, right behind that, we have a service desk and then a processing area. Yeah, yeah, it's small.
Can I interject? Sure. One thing, yeah, this isn't directly related, but just one thing to make the board aware of is, one of the things that, we're going to propose, have proposed in the 2024 budget is funding for a master facilities plan. And what that will do is help to identify, we've got a new library coming online. We're gonna have to figure out what to do with the space that the library vacates. And so one of the things that will help us do is to identify, staff growth over time and then program for all of that space so that we have adequate, not only facilities, but, connectivity, all of the things that would go with bringing more people or different kinds of people potentially into the organization. So that'll be upcoming in 2024.
All right, cool. Thank you, Mark, for that. Good, no, thank you. Okay, thank you, Michaela. This is good, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the work that you did to do that. Okay, next one is budget, and the timeline that the libraries asked to meet and what they're going to present.
Right. So like Mark said, next week is the first opportunity for citizens to comment. I think in October, we're gonna start presenting some preliminary things, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, to the council.
That's correct. So the mayor will present the budget on October, I believe it's 17th. Hold on, get back to the calendar and see exactly.
October 7th.
17th, yes.
So Michaela so obviously then she's already gotten, or I should say, that's poor English, let me rephrase. She has already received information in regards to the library's budget in order to put it into her budget presentation for October 17th.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So what you have in front of you is a little bit of a description and then 2022's and then 2023's proposed budget, what we've put in for 2023 so far. The grayed out part is salary. I don't have all of that information. I think that's on the file. The orange ones are where we suggested some changes. And really overall is less than a $12,000 change that we're asking for. But we have some increases in library supplies. And that one is, because we would like to go away from our vendor processing books for us. We have the staff and it would cut down on time that it takes for them to send us books, which usually ends up us getting books like 2 weeks after they come out. And I'd like to have them the day they come out. So if we stop having them process and have staff start doing that, we can get those to patrons sooner. So that increase in that line is for processing supplies, basically. That's the first one.
Processing, does that mean, right now you get them and somebody else puts all the codes and everything?
Yeah, somebody's done like the labeling and the stamping and the putting covers on things.
Okay, that's good. So that's done by an outside vendor,
Most
or
of
the
it,
vendor
right?
you buy the books from.
Yeah.
You would get the books in, just like we would buy them at the bookstore, you guys would put the stickers and the covers and everything.
Yep,
Does that then mean we have a decrease in fees to the vendor?
it should, yeah.
Is that calculated in there?
I think so.
It should be, it should be something of an offset. It should be something of an offset.
I think so. It,
Cause I don't see a decrease in any of them.
right,
Well, but if we added money to library supplies, then that would give us more money to buy books and other materials, because that processing is part of the book cost. So,
so right now it's wrapped up in the collection piece of it. Which we're not asking for an increase in next year, I don't believe. Where is it?
Yeah, cause we have books and other materials collections, 55,000,
Right.
there's no change in that.
Right. So, right now, part of that budget is spent on having them do that processing. Yes. So, we'd like to keep that budget the same. Book prices have increased,
Yes.
but if we do some of the processing, we should even out.
Keep the same number of books we buy by processing themselves.
Right.
Makes sense.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions about supplies? Okay. Next line down, children and adult program supplies, we do a lot of programming, we're asking for about $1,000 increase. We have more participants since COVID, so that cost is not a first as well.
So, $1,000, is that really enough to do? You guys do a ton of programming, and you do a lot of things for children and adults.
We do,
So is that gonna really, is that just gonna keep things the same, or is it gonna allow you to do a little bit more?
it's more for status quo, but that line is also supplemented by the Friends budget.
Yeah, I got, right,
Right,
so,
so a lot of that is, we rely on Friends to
so we
supplement.
can ask friends for a little more if we wanna do more. Got it.
Yeah.
Don't we, cousin friends normally contribute about 75?
About $7,000, I think.
Yeah, I think last year was 75.
Was it 75?
Yeah. Yes, okay. Fuel modest increase. We've got a couple more professional development conferences we'd like to go to next year for different people in the library.
Plus, that cost is gonna.
And my cost is going up, thank you, yeah.
What is COHA?
COHA is our catalog, our public access catalog. Yes,
And all library vendors, software vendors put on the annual price for their users.
right. And Georgia is a board member of that at the moment, so.
Cool.
Yeah, she's the treasurer. Okay, software maintenance and databases, a bit of an increase there. We would like to purchase some additional software. We're seeing a huge increase in meeting room requests, which is great, but it takes staff time to coordinate that. So we're looking at possibly getting some software to manage that for us, take that off our plate. The point of sale is increased just a little bit as well. And then collection management, where we're looking at trying to, we're gonna call it right sizing. We're looking at changing some things in our juvenile and YA collections specifically, and that's what that collection management software will help us do.
Most software maintenance, if it's a annual or multi-year with auto renewal has 3%, 5% annual increase. Are we also taking that into account?
Okay, any other questions for this so far? Okay. Travel, lodging, meals, mileage, that one's gone up as well, again, because we would like to do some additional conferences and professional development.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how the software works that you submit the budget on or whatever detail you need. I've always gone down the path of the more general. You put, it just, say travel to association conferences instead of listing the numbers, because it might get you into a battle over why are you going to this, why are you going to that? And if you just say, 4 people attending conferences, unless it's required by the city, it's just a suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So next down, do subscriptions and memberships. We would like to purchase 3 additional hotspots next year. Those are used all the time. And then we have some increased membership dues, I think with CIM and some of our other sharing opportunities, so.
Would there be an additional cost on that, that interlibrary thing that we're talking about with Spokane County?
I think it's going to be minimal. And it would be included in the postage. And then finally, building utilities, the sewer, the power, that's just bumped up a little bit for increased rates and those things.
Is there any offset from them putting new windows in to that building? Is that gonna reduce some of the utilities?
I'll have to ask Jen, I'm not sure.
Because I thought I
Well, that was the intent, I think.
I think,
There's planned to be some efficiencies gained with that, window change out. The full breadth of what that will look like, we'll have to see as it comes in, but that's the intent, yeah.
okay, questions, suggestions?
I have a question for Mark. Is that increase in the budget, is that in line with what you see from other departments? Like percentage wise?
I don't know that I can say that yet. We, haven't reviewed the full budget. It's still being compiled, possibly. But I don't know.
I'm just curious because it seems like we have more circulation, more people coming to the library. That seems like a really modest ask.
That is a very modest ask, in my opinion.
I just didn't know how it compared to other departments in the city, so. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Michaela.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Okay, we are on to the customer service policy. And I think, we should have, Michaela, give us kind of an overview of where her staff is at with this policy, and any particular things they would like to have addressed, with this policy. So Michaela, could you do that first, please?
Sure.
And then we'll have questions or whatever.
So this policy and procedure, both, listed as both, has been on since 2018. Staff's main, concern with this is that it is very long and extremely, directive instead of descriptive. So it's more like, because this is for the public and not necessarily for staff, the procedure side of it would be for staff. The policy side of it is for the public. It's just very long and kind of fuzzy. Not that we disagree with anything that's in there, just
Got
it
it.
seems like two separate documents.
So what I was just gonna say, sorry, I was just gonna say, it sounds like, we need to separate, some things out, for the staff and then some for the patrons.
Right.
Would that be a correct
staff's
assessment?
suggestion.
Yeah,
Okay.
as I'm reading through this, half of it seems like it's employee handbook.
Right.
And half of it seems like it's how patrons should expect to be supported.
Right.
Right.
And those two should not go together.
The two benefits to me.
Agreed.
Well, in particular, because I noticed at the end, it also, basically has the implied threat, like you said, employee handbook. If you don't do this, it's gonna.
Part of your evaluation.
Your
Yeah,
evaluation.
this is,
So, yeah.
So that was staff's biggest suggestion, was maybe to take out the piece of it that's procedure and separate that into a different document.
that's an internal staff, more city administrative,
Right.
or library director
Correct.
Right.
employment thing versus this is what library patrons can expect for customer service.
Right.
And that's what this policy should be addressing is patrons in customer service, not how the staff are treating each other or their evaluations or.
So I agree with that. So, we need a suggestion about next steps for being able to separate those items out and from each other, so we can put together a quality customer service policy for the patrons. So that we want to take some time to go through that on our own, separate things out, and I think Michaela, you and your staff probably could separate out some things for us really quickly, probably.
I mean, I suggested, this is the red line version, so it's got some of Bob's and then some of my suggestions on there. I just went through and highlighted anything that is bullet pointed, where it seems like it's more directive for staff, that
So you already did it, thank you.
I told you.
She's organized.
and it's pretty much just the bullet points is where it seems more. Yeah,
Well, and I think
proceed.
we can either go a little farther and say, acknowledging certain patrons versus the coworkers. The coworkers is taken care of with city employment policies. You've already got in your city employment that you have to treat coworkers equally. That's not part of customer service to the patrons.
Oh, couldn't we, it seems to me the document should have a statement like it says at the beginning about how we treat our patrons, what they should be able to expect. And then, we could just list out the customer service, that we provide for the patrons when they come in. And then the other stuff, it's all about, well, like expectations for the workers, that goes in a different category, in my opinion. And should have, just like you had said. So I think what we really just need to do is to go through and have that opening statement, and then, I would suggest we identify those, things that we want to say to the patrons about what the service that our library provides.
So you've got like all of those bullet points in that gray area, and you scroll down.
Yep.
So we've got.
So these bullet points represent what, Michaela? Things that you think should be employee directed?
Things that seem more procedural than.
Got it.
And
Policy.
treat
Yeah.
everybody with respect
Right.
and. There's those, okay, and then all, okay, and then take a responsibility to follow through with patrons to determine whether it's suitable. And so we're getting rid of the expectations there with, I think that's, I read it.
I think you have to take coworker out of all of
Yes.
I
that.
think coworker has to be fun.
Okay. I like that bullet point that you are aware of the library policies and you're upholding confidentiality of records in intellectual freedom. Right?
These all seem to be talking to the employees on take responsibility for knowing and understanding, that's all. Like a worker handbook stuff, what you would put in.
Yeah, but we can change the wording to say, library patrons should have an expectation for of being treated fairly. Library patrons,
And I
in
agree with that.
in providing customer support, the library will take privacy.
Right,
So
so
just
that- yeah,
reword those in a different way,
Instead of saying take responsibility, you would just say library patrons
have an
have an
expectation.
expectation that staff will know, understand, and consistently implement library policies and procedures.
Have you done this kind of stuff before? That's pretty, I like that. Well, I would say that since we know what the concern was, that, that maybe now that we can go back and we can, take a look at that and then when we can make our notations on the document and then come back and even have maybe, someone should be the point person that maybe could send it out and separate the two, and then we can comment, give it back to that person. And then that person could bring final, well, I don't know if we need two documents, because the other document belongs to you guys, and you guys have to put that together. But just separating out the patron part side of it, and bring that back,
I can,
next week.
I can work with Michaela to get that ready for next month.
And I think everything from here down can be gone.
Yeah.
If that's on the employee, take responsibility for
Now,
positive work environment, that's.
it only, I don't, do you have, I mean, we probably have to rename it to, in terms of patron customer service,
Yeah.
something
Or
like that.
just customer service policy.
There you go, customer service policy.
But if we take all that out, is that somewhere else, or is that going to be somewhere else? Is there a library
The
staff
procedure,
handbook?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, we have a procedure manual.
So that doesn't, I don't wanna get into, changing something at the city level.
Right.
I would assume each department has their own kind of department operations management, that's where you would put all of this stuff.
Yep, we have one of those.
Great. Okay, so Kim, you're gonna work with Michaela to do that, that'd be great, super. That really was a pretty easy fix, really, just a matter of going back through and getting it all separated out. Will be good. Okay, so, Anybody have any other questions? Last time, it's not on our agenda, but last time we did talk about our report to the city council. That was brought up. Kim, you were gonna work with Michaela on
We're
that.
doing that after this meeting.
Okay, and do we want to, pick a date in the next month that we, can give that, which, I guess I'm asking, which council meeting do you guys, because you're working on it, think you'll be prepared to give that report?
We're tentatively on for September 19th. That's next Tuesday.
Oh, we're already on the,
Tentatively.
we're tentatively on for September month.
I'll be out of town, so I won't be able to attend.
I will be.
I'll be here. Never mind. Is that enough time to have it all done,
Yeah.
ready? Okay.
And, I'm leaving town for 2 weeks on the 29th.
Okay, well, then that's perfect. September 19th. I don't know why it was set for September 19th. I'm good.
If that's going on the 19th, then someone else might need to step up and go at a later meeting. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you guys will get it done, but if you're not ready, let us know so we can. I'm pretty sure, so I have confidence, let's put it that way. I'm very confident it'll get done.
You guys have always done a good job.
Yeah.
Creating that report.
Yeah, that was last one was excellent, and pretty sure that will be the same for this one. Anybody have any other comments? Okay, now, does anybody have anything that they would like to see specifically other than the customer service policy on our next agenda?
That was the next policy we're gonna
We've not decided that yet.
take a look at. We're gonna vote in this term.
I think Bob had some suggestions last time.
Many versions of that.
There's a few that haven't been visited since 2019. I think they're the older ones. So confidentiality, programs, stats, suspension of privileges for health and safety and vulnerable persons. I don't think we've looked at since 2019.
So which one do you think we should do next?
What would be your suggestion? What's most pressing of those, do you think?
Out of those, probably programs or staff
Okay,
and possibly confidentiality. So I'd say programs or confidentiality, whichever you want to tackle.
okay,
Because,
programs confidentiality. Okay, so we'll take a look at those next time. Okay,
Yeah. They're both, I mean, the programs one is slightly older
Is it okay?
than the confidentiality.
all right. Anything else? We're good. Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Meeting is adjourned. We're good. All right, everybody have a good day. See you next month.